I think the three questions Romania and Europe needs to ask itself. Number one is, how bad is bad? Number two, why does it matter? And number three, what do we do about it? If you start with how bad is bad, frankly, if I look at all metrics on digital transformation and digital infrastructure, which is of course part of the business that I'm involved in, there's not a single metric except affordability measured by purchasing power where we're ahead of China. Every single metric available, we're now behind China. I don't know a single point in time where we as Europeans were able to catch up with emerging economies on core technologies. But we have found ourselves now in a situation which Mario Draghi presented really well, that on something that is transformational for our economy, for the future of society, we now need to play catch up. And it's true, Ivana made a reference of where Romania sits in Europe, but frankly, it's not a problem to be a catch-up economy in a pioneer region. It's a problem to be a catch-up economy in a lagging region. And Europe is lagging behind. So how bad is bad? The truth of the matter is really bad. Second question is, does it matter? So on the question of why it matters is that I think what people have finally understood is that digitization is like a tidal wave. It raises all boats or it sinks all boats. Meaning it is now the platform upon which you drive the productivity in the economy as a whole. And if you look at the productivity numbers of Europe and the United States, and remember the gap is just increasing between us and the US, the real point of departure with the US versus Europe was in mid-1990s. And the number one driver for that was something called total factor productivity, which is underpinned by the ICT revolution. So Europe's continuous underinvestment and inability to leverage ICT revolution is the predominant explanation why European citizens are today poorer than American citizens. It's the reason why most of our EU member states would be ranked as the 51st member of the United States Federation. So most of our member states today are poorer than Missouri. Our citizens are poorer than Missouri citizens. And that is because of total factor productivity, and that's directly linked to ICT. So it matters a lot to be a laggard. Then comes the third question, is what do we need to do about it? And particularly in the environment that we find ourselves today, we really don't have more time in Europe to talk about it. If you want to play catch up, it's all about decisiveness and speed. And digitization being extremely disruptive, you don't have the time for a lot of conferences or impact assessments and debates. We already have the recipe, if you want, for what we need to do, which was offered to us by Enrico Letta and Mario Draghi. My concern is whether we will action it fast enough in Europe. But if I had to summarize it in three pillars, number one, investment, investment, investment. You simply will never catch up unless you unlock private investment. And Europe is miserably bad at unlocking private investment. And that has to do with investment climate in Europe. And that you, to some extent, you get the amount of capital you get into an economy is dependent around whether or not it's attractive to invest in that economy. So investment. Second is, Europe is not good at cleaning out legacy regulation. And particularly legacy regulation that drives fragmentation. Technology is a scale game. So you need to have in-market scale, you need to have single market scale, and Europe still is a market in technology with 27 unique markets, which means that we get subscale in Europe. We're not leveraging the benefits of the single market that you see in every other industrial sector in the area of technology. And the third thing is security. Security is frankly an investment and scale game. Vodafone can run very, very advanced cyber defense because we basically have combined all of our assets, which is 15 markets around the globe, in one cyber center with 900 employees 24/7 protecting Europe as well as Africa. It's a scale game. So if Europe wants to understand telecom as it is today as mission critical, it needs to align all of its policy instruments behind inviting investment, simplifying regulation, and putting a premium on security, none of which is happening today.